All right, good morning, everyone. We are ready to get started on this absolutely gorgeous day. This is just a quick intro for you, just to give you an idea if you're not familiar with Zoom and how it works. If you want to unmute yourselves and you have questions as we're going through our workshop, you're more than welcome to do that, or you can wait until the end of the workshop and we will have a question and answer session as well. So let's jump in. You are here to learn a little bit more about aging and living and staying in your own home during your golden ages. And please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Olga St. Pierre. I am a real estate agent right here in our community. I'm also a senior living specialist as well with Keller Williams Real Estate. Just a little bit about me. I have been a full-time agent for the last 11 years. I am currently licensed in both New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and I truly, truly love what I'm doing. And being able to bring you workshops, things that are relevant for us right here in our community is truly what I enjoy doing the most. Please consider myself and my team as your resource. Whether you are planning on making a move now or later, or you decide that you want to stay in your home, we do have a very experienced and extensive concierge service for helping move pretty much anyone, anywhere in the United States and Canada. So we're happy to help you, your friends, your coworkers, your family. And our concierge service, think of us as your virtual yellow pages. The goal is to be able to advise you and make recommendations on trusted providers, such as contractors, inspectors, organizers, someone to help you declutter if you need to, just general manpower if you need things to be taken up or down or outside. So anyone that you can think of that you need help with, we are happy to recommend. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. So let's jump right in. The plan for today is to discuss the idea of I just want to retire and stay in my home for as long as I live. We're also going to talk about some of the questions that you should ask yourself. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you some things to think about and maybe a little bit of a homework to help you put an action plan together. We will definitely talk about financial considerations and some things that you may not realize. And also, if I may, I would like to make some suggestions for you on what to consider doing next. One of the things that I always talk about in just about every workshop that I do, when you are starting to make plans that have to do with your retirement, I strongly suggest that you do that as much in advance as possible, okay? And when we talk about retirement, what I hear from a lot of my clients is that, and here's the statistics for you, that was a survey that was done by AARP, is the fact that 75% of Americans that are age 50 and older, they just want to stay in their home during their golden days. And the fact remains is that it takes planning to be able to do that. You can't just say, well, I'm just staying home and that's final, all right? And that's why I want to encourage you today as we go through the workshop is to make some notes to see how this information is relevant to you now, or whether you are planning on making these changes or you're going to make this plan a reality a little bit down the road. It is definitely a good time to start thinking about it now, even if you're not planning on doing it for a few years, okay? And the reason also is that I see time and again, and it becomes a very stressful time for family where these changes, these modifications, these repairs, all these things are done because they have to be done, because something happened, a crisis happened. And believe me, this is a very stressful time when you are trying to make these changes, and a lot of the time it's not done right, and it's just too stressful for you and your family. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is to try avoid being in those stressful situations. So just a couple of things to consider in terms of the truth about staying in your own home. My current home is the best possible place for me to live in my retirement years. And that may or may not be true, because the ideal space that you enjoy and you want to be in does evolve over time. right? Because when you purchased your own home, maybe you were just starting your family and you were looking to have children and it was going to work space-wise then. However, now maybe those stairs to get to your master bedroom are very steep and your knees are not in the same condition that they were before. You know, maybe your laundry was in the basement and that was okay with you when you were younger. However, now it is a hassle to go down the stairs again, right? And the same thing, if you always wanted to have a home with a big yard, right now, today, it may be too much work and you're not able to physically care for your backyard and cut the grass and take care of the weeds. So just think about those things as we're going through the workshop today. My current home is the best option to continue an active social life and for me to be able to stay connected with friends in the years ahead and in my community. And that may not always be the case. Sometimes because you are in a big home and you are being maybe stuck on the first floor and a lot of the times for people, the home becomes your prison. I know it's a really harsh word to use, but I have heard it, some of my clients use it time and time and again, that I thought this was going to be perfect solution for me, but unfortunately I feel more and more closed in and away from people than I thought it was actually going to work differently. So think about your own current situation, or maybe if you are listening in for your family members or for your loved ones. It's less expensive and more financially secure for me to stay in my current home. We're definitely covering this in more detail a little bit later on, because this is not just a consideration about whether you still have a mortgage on your home or it's been completely paid off. Okay, you have to remember that as you personally age, your home ages with you, right? So what we also need to consider about is some of the major components in your home, such as your roof, your heating and air conditioning, your siding, how is your basement looking? These are some really, really expensive big ticket items that if you have to fix them, they can cost $10,000, $15,000, and that is a one-time payment expense. Right? You can't spread that out over the, a few years or so, sort of with a payment plan. So we're definitely going to talk about that as well. Well, it'll be easy to get any care I need at my home. What I can tell you is that there is so many people and agencies that can be involved to help you get the true care that you need, right? And there's also a team of people that will need to help you do that. Some people actually get so frustrated with trying to figure that out that they end up not making sure that they need everything for their home care. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So number one, very important, is your home fit for you, right? This is the most important question. This is why I wanted to start as your number one item on today's workshop. Okay, so is your home safe? Does your home need modifications? What I strongly recommend that you get, if you truly believe that staying in and aging in your home is the best option for you, you need absolutely, and you need to do it sooner than later, is get your home safety assessment done. And basically what it is this is what I do. This is a 5-page document, and we basically go through your home and we start on the exterior and we work our way all the way around, and we go from the basement all the way to the attic, okay? I'm sure you will agree with me, but falls are the leading cause of death for seniors over the age of 65. So this is one of the big things that we always look at and see, okay? Number one priority is safety items, right? And what we do is as we walk through, for example, we look at, here's the first item on my list, home entry. Right? If eventually you may need to have a wheelchair, is there room to put a wheelchair ramp, right? What about a threshold ramp? Do you have to step over your threshold? Are there steps, or is there room to just easily glide in? Okay. Then we also talk about entrance doors in terms of security, ease of accessing. Is it easy for you to grab the handle and open it, or you're going to have to struggle because of the type of handle that you have? Right, so we talk about everything from safety to clutter to having handrails. And here's some examples for you that I include in a home safety assessment is to give you an idea on some of the best things that we can do, okay? Like touch on lamps, having seating work area in your kitchen, having pull-out handles for your cabinetry in the kitchen, so that way it's easier for you to just pull things out instead of having to open, and then you having to kneel down and look under the, under the counter level and see if you're able to pull what you need for the cooking for that time. We also talk about technology, right? There's so much technology that are available currently for helping you in making your life easier. For example, the doorbell cameras like Ring, right? Where if you don't know who's coming to the door, you might be able to look at your phone, or you can have a family member designated to be able to see who's at the front door. And there are actually locks that you can purchase that you can unlock with your phone, right? So it makes it easier for you or for some of the family members that you designate to help you with that, to be able to make sure that you are safe and secure. And if, for example, maybe you forget the keys to your home, you are able to access your home without having any issues or without having a key. So we actually go through your whole home and we make a plan, all right? And this is what the home safety assessment is all about, okay? Here are some other examples that we also talk about, okay? We actually encourage you to create a floor plan in your own home, okay? Because the furniture and the items that you needed 20 years ago, maybe when your kids were still living with you before they moved out and started their own household, okay? At this point in your life, what you have in terms of your furniture may be too much for you, okay? And one of the biggest issues that a lot of seniors have is they have too much stuff in their house, okay? So what we're talking about is creating a safe room-by-room floor plan for you and help you understand truly what you absolutely need, and then we get rid of the rest, so that way you have the flexibility of being able to move around in your home without fear of falling or tripping over something, okay? What we also help you do is declutter. We actually talk about the items, and we help you declutter the things that you absolutely want to keep, things maybe that you want to give to your family, items that we can sell and get you money towards the repairs and the renovations that you may have to make in your home to help you stay in your home, and then the rest is donation, okay? So I am happy to also, we have the actual room-by-room floor plan and the floor plan, and helping you come up with the inventory as guides. So if you would like for us to show you what it looks like, we're more than happy to mail you copies of those documents. Just let us know, okay? With regards to decluttering, what I encourage you to do, it's in just about every circumstance of you either just clearing things out, or you actually preparing for a move, or in your case, you wanting to stay in your home, decluttering and going through your personal stuff that you have accumulated years over years is always the #1 thing that we start with, and I always recommend that you do. And just like I told you about general planning for staying in your home, decluttering falls in the same important category. I always stress, whether you're ready to do something now, or you do it, if you plan on doing it later, start decluttering now, because you don't realize, and many people have told me that, you don't realize how much stuff you accumulate until you actually start going through it. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. You need to get help with organizers, appraisers, and haulers to help you. We definitely can make recommendations for you. And the goal here is to do it little by little, right? Take advantage of your trash days and put something out every day. Make piles of things, right? Things we're keeping, things we're going to donate, things that we're going to trash, okay? We also have a complete separate decluttering workshop where we help you tackle those things and who to contact and what to do with your stuff. And please check out our link here on the slide to let you know when the next decluttering workshop that is coming on. Once we went through all of that, we're going to help you create a home modification improvement list, okay? And believe me, it can be extensive, right? Because when you were originally buying this home and making improvements and modification to it, it may not have been things that you were thinking that you were going to be able to do and have as part of your retirement plan, okay? So then what I am going to encourage you to do is, when you have your list, okay, you're going to need to contact at least 3 to 4 contractors and ask them to provide you with detailed estimate on how much this updating is going to cost you. And the reason I always suggest 3 to 4 is that will give you an idea if one estimate is being fair and reasonable, or are they really out of proportion, all right? Then, depending on your time frame and also what those financing considerations are, you need to determine the time frame for your work, right? You may not be able to do everything in one shot, or you may be able to designate your project as having, you know, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, depending on the things that need to be done in your home, all right? And also, of course, we need to talk about financing your projects. So, financial considerations. Here's where we are in terms of that. What I'm encouraging you to do, number 1, is get a notebook. A simple 1-page or notepad will suffice. And as you know, I am a very big proponent of notebooks and planning, right? And what I'm going to encourage you to do is the sample of a monthly expense sheet that you see on the left. We can mail you a copy so you don't have to recreate it or jot it down. So just let us know. We're more than happy to do that. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is side by side, okay, is you need to figure out what your current income in your expenses are. Just like when we always talk about the fact that you don't have a mortgage does not mean that you will be 100% comfortable living in your home for the rest of your life, okay? What we are talking about here is, in general, basically brainstorming what you currently have, and if we need to make some tweaks to your financial situation to help you to be able to stay and live in your home, okay? So what we're looking for is the target of a percentage, right? If you still have a mortgage, we want to make sure that that monthly percentage is 35% or less of your monthly income. And most of the retirees have a fixed income, so this is important to consider, okay? So if you do still have a mortgage, when you subtract it, do you have enough money for all of your other needs, okay? So this is where we sit down and we actually brainstorm and we say, okay, if no, okay, is there an option where we can actually help you downsize into a different home that you can actually stay in? Maybe something not as big as what you currently have, maybe something that will solve your problems of not having to use the stairs and be able to be in the 1-floor living like a rancher, okay? Then we also talk about potentially if that's gonna help you pay off your mortgage, and then you're not going to have any mortgage when you downsize. So that's, you know, maybe one option. Then we also review all of your expenses, things that you currently have, and see if we can reduce your expenses and help you do that. Okay, so then what we also talk about, and as I'm going to encourage you, if you don't have one, potentially discuss your savings and your investments that you have as part of your retirement plan with your financial advisor. Okay, you have to draw your funds when you become 70, right? Otherwise, you know, there's also tax considerations. Like there's a lot of things overall that you need to be aware of that you may not be, that you have to start doing at certain, you know, ages in your life. There are also options of having a reverse mortgage, or what it's called a home equity conversion mortgage, that you can do on your home, right? So there are definitely age considerations as well as financial considerations. You actually have to be approved for that. And what I like about this idea is that you can brainstorm and see how it may best suit you. You may be able to pay off your current mortgage and get something else. You may be able to sell your current home and use a reverse mortgage on another property, maybe, you know, in like a 55+ community that has like community activities and things that you may enjoy doing. So there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of ideas that we can help you contribute, and then decide on what kind of game plan, right? What kind of action plan that we can put together for you and help you and see which may be the best option for you, okay? If you need recommendations for a reverse mortgage lender, whether it's in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, please let me know. I'm more than happy to also recommend you a couple of great people as well. So then you also need to understand with regards to your insurance, right? If you are relying on federally provided Medicare and Medicaid, it's critical to know and understand which services are going to be paid for, right? So if for Medicare, for example, it's, they will pay up to 100 days with the schedule, and it's only short-term stays if you need to go into facility, maybe for some like physical therapy, nursing services, and other therapies, okay? Medicaid is only available to lower income individuals. So we also need to know what your income is to see if that federal program may be an option for you. Okay. And then of course, we also talk about your own health insurance, right? Once you're retired from your employer, do you actually have private insurance for life? What does that look like? Are there actually caps on the benefits that you get per year? Do you have, premium deductibles that you have to contribute, and then the company is going to kick in and pay 100%? Also, do you have long-term care insurance? What does that look like? When can you start drawing those benefits? So I'm encouraging you also, as you are going through your budgeting process, pull out all of this information and have that handy, whether it might be in a binder or in some kind of folder, so that way we can help you and create that plan, that care plan that will suit your needs and your desires the best. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, there are definitely VA benefits that are available to you, monetary assistance, supportive services. So don't forget, if you are a veteran or you are a spouse of one, let's talk about that and see if that will also help you. And just again, I want to reiterate to you, as you can see on this slide, this planning takes absolutely time. Sometimes it takes longer than you may want to, but it does. These things do not happen overnight. You can't just kind of schlep things together and hope it's going to work. It really does need time to make sure you get this done right, so that way it is as stress-free as possible, because there's just so many moving parts and so many components to help you get this really in the right place. All right, your health and your wellness, okay? The notebook that I'm referring to you when you're working on your budget, I am also going to give you a questionnaire to go through, okay? These are the questions that I want you to be honest, and those are very, very direct questions that you need to ask yourself. And I'm going to ask you to be prepared and to be very honest with yourself, okay? You need to truly think about it and analyze on what is your current overall health look like, right? And you can do on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being, I am in perfectly good health, and 1 is I really, really need help, okay? What are your concerns, right? Do you feel that maybe down the road, depending on maybe some kind of illness that you have, you're going to have mobility issues, you're going to need to be in a wheelchair? All of these things we need to know, because we need to make sure that your home, for example, your hallways, your doors, your bathroom, are all going to be able to accommodate your wheelchair access, right? Performing daily activities. Are you going to need help with dressing, with getting up in the morning, right? So that personal care does not get covered by insurance typically, especially by Medicare. So, and those services of those, nurses and those personal care specialists are not cheap, right? They're hourly rates and they are expensive. Also, means to travel. And what we're talking about here is if you need to, God forbid you need to get to the emergency room, or you have a couple of doctor's appointments every week. Are you able to take yourself? Or if you're not feeling well, do you have a family member who can take you? Or if that family member is not available, do you have a transport that can take you? Okay, so you may not realize these things, but it is something that you absolutely need to think about. Okay, and finally, which is extremely important, and I mentioned this to you earlier, is who is on your medical team to make sure that they craft your healthcare plan wisely, because you are staying at home. Okay, that will include all of your doctors, not just one, and your doctors need to each know and be part of your whole healthcare plan and understand that there's other doctors involved, and to make sure that they craft the best plan for you and actually speak to each other. Your nurses, your personal care, your nursing care, right? All of those things are very expensive and they take time to set up. If you are hoping that your insurance is going to cover their services, the plan has to be submitted to your carrier and it has to be approved. And as you know, it takes time for them to review everything. You know, they can say, well, we'll get back to you in 6 to 8 weeks. We'll get back to you in a few months. All those items in the decision-making and the preparation of putting the plan together takes time, right? So this is what I want you to think about. And I truly want you to start making all your notes and putting these thoughts on paper in your notebook. It's very important, so that way when you are visiting your doctor and you're talking to your nurses, you actually have some ideas already, so that way they can create that health plan faster for you because you already have the information that they might be looking for, right? And they're also going to need the documentation that I mentioned to you as well. So make sure you have all those things ready, or at least start working on them now, today. Community social interaction. Have you thought about that? That's something also that I'm going to ask you to think about and jot down your notes, okay? If you do not have any kind of interaction while you are in your home, you know, maybe, you know, if you had your friends, but they all moved away, right? They decided to actually go into a 55 plus community, or they decided to move closer with their family, right? Or by their family, you have the ability to attend an adult daycare. Okay, it is a great social interaction program. Both of my grandmothers went through those programs. They truly enjoyed going. I think both of them were going 3 times a week. They had breakfast there, they had lunch, they were able to play games, they were able to interact with others, and then they came home. And they both of them used transport to get there because they did not drive. So think about that as well, is if you want to take advantage of that social interaction, are you going to be able to take yourself? Or are you going to make arrangements to have the transport, and also who's going to pay for it, okay? Next question you need to ask yourself, are you comfortable with technology? Unfortunately, it is getting more and more sophisticated, and you know, are you able to be able to use a smartphone, right? Or do you need to make arrangements maybe to get a phone that has bigger buttons? What's also important right now is to be able to communicate with your family through a Zoom call, right? Or some other type of video call. Do you feel comfortable setting this up on your computer or on your phone to be able to do that, right? Because it is vital to stay connected, and it's also a sense of security for your family to make sure that you are okay, okay? Next, what I am encouraging you to think about is that staying active up until the day you leave this earth is extremely important. Okay? Being active, I also am not talking about physically, but also mentally and emotionally. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about is, what is your passion? What are your hobbies? What are the things that you truly enjoy doing and you want to continue doing on a daily basis? Okay? And I want you to incorporate these things in your daily living. Okay? Whether it's solving puzzles or doing Sudoku, or you want to become involved in some kind of charities, right? Some things that are going to make you happy because you are making a difference in your community. Maybe it's involvement in your church, right? Whatever those things are, I want you to make sure that you keep doing them, and also think about how are you going to get to those activities, right? You need to make plans that if you are not able to drive anymore, how are you still going to be able to get to those activities, to see those important people, because it still is an important part of your physical and mental well-being. Now, this is very important, and I encourage you to have this conversation with your loved ones sooner than later. Okay. Overall, communication with your loved ones is extremely important. And, you know, I've seen this backfire many, many times where, you know, the family needed to step in because, again, you know, the planning wasn't done, the budgeting wasn't done, and what they were trying to do is what they thought was going to be best for their loved one, yet the loved one did not feel that that was the best thing for them. So there was a miscommunication, there was a lot of tears and a lot of, you know, people being upset and angry, and this all could have been prevented if the conversation took place early on, right? Before you absolutely have to, you need to start making these plans, like I said, and I'm going to reiterate again, early on, okay? You need to tell your family, your loved ones, and how you are feeling. Are you still feeling well? Are you scared of something? Are you afraid, right? Maybe they don't realize that you're not feeling well and you're sick, right? Because they're busy with their own families, they're busy with their jobs, okay? Tell them what you want them to know, okay? What's important for you that they know, and what they realize is how you're feeling, okay? Ask them if you need help. And this, I know this is very hard for some people who have always been independent. However, you can ask them for some help. Now, it's not necessarily means that the family member has to do everything for you. If you ask for some help and you actually set boundaries and just let them know, hey, I just need your help with maybe cutting the grass for me or helping me with some of these activities or items that I need taken care of, okay? Also, you absolutely need to tell your family members where to find your important documents. Okay, this is, we also talk about, this is part of our decluttering plan and in our decluttering workshop, that all of your important documents should either be in the box or somewhere in the house, in a special room or special location, so that way you can actually find those items as well as your family members and your loved ones can, okay? Legal documents, your directive, the things that you want people to know and do if you're not capable of making decisions. Your list of accounts, right? Like they may not realize that you have 3 retirement accounts. They only think that you have 1. Your list of your checking accounts, your savings accounts, your stocks, your bonds, any of those documents, as well as supporting documents for your accounts, needs to be all in the safe place. Your insurance, your funeral arrangements if you have something made, your digital asset inventory. And what that is this simple spreadsheet that you created that says, okay, for my email address, this is my password. For me to access my IRA at Vanguard, for example, here's my login and here's my password. It's going to make things so much simpler. They need to access this information to maybe request a statement or something else to help you make your budgeting decisions. Because if you don't remember, this is also a great way of keeping track of things and helping you not become frustrated because you forgot a password for a certain account. Powers of attorney, any other documents that you think are important, all of that should be in one place that you can go back to. Also, who will be in charge? And this is important if you have more than one child. If you are designating your oldest child to be in charge when maybe you become incapacitated, when you pass away, and you want that old child to be an executive of your estate, you need to have a conversation with that child and make sure that that child is okay doing that. They may not realize how much of a responsibility it is, and they may be frank with you and tell you, you know what, Mom, Dad, I can't do that. I don't have time. I'm too far away. You need to, have my sister do it. Okay, so you need to be respectful of their maybe decision and not be able to do that. And at the same time, you also need to have the conversation with your other children as to why you selected another child of yours to be in charge and not that child. To make sure that there is no hard feelings, right? There's no being upset because it's not that they're not important and you don't trust them, but there's some other valid reason that you want someone else to be in charge. Your family needs to know who your attorney is, who your financial advisor is, your accountant. Okay, you need to provide them with these professionals' contact information, and you also need to let your attorney know that I have 3 children. Their names are Amy, Mary, and John, and that if something goes wrong, they will be reaching out to you. So your attorney also knows who your kids are, because if he gets a call from someone, they don't have to wonder and look through documents and say, okay, is that really true? Is John really the son of Mary? Okay. And also, you need to let your family know what your wishes are, right? You have to truly think about the worst case scenario. If you're in a coma and you are on life support, do you want to be kept on life support, or do you want to be taken off after a certain period of time? These are some of the hardest decisions that your family will have to make for you if they don't have your directive. And sometimes one family member says, well, no, I want them to stay on because what if they wake up? And then another child will say, well, you're letting our loved one to suffer by keeping them on. If you tell them what you're looking for, what your decision is, it will help the whole family process it and make the decisions in the hard time. And they will know at that time that they're making the best decision because you told them what your wishes are. And of course, we're talking about your financial plans and your health plans, explaining to your family on what you've decided to do. Here are the finances. Here's what my will looks like. Here's what my health plan looks like. I want to stay in my home for as long as I can. However, if that is not possible, then this is what I want to do, okay? So all of those things are extremely important. And as you can see, this list is probably not everything that you may need to do, and it will take you time to put this together. However, these conversations that I'm encouraging you to have with your family and your loved ones are extremely, extremely important. And believe me, it'll make things a lot easier to handle when, you know, things can get tough, and they can, and sometimes it's just a matter of overnight. So don't wait. All right, so what we're going to do is actually at this point just starting to kind of wind down, okay? I wanted to give you a good overview of what it takes to make a plan for you or your loved ones to be able to stay in their own home, okay? So here's what I'm encouraging you to do on what's next. Number one, get that notebook and start writing down on what your thoughts are. It has been proven that our brain thinks that we are making progress, we are making positive intent of putting an action plan together when we are just writing our thoughts down. If you're not sure where to start or what to do, just write down your feelings, right? What your thoughts are. What do you want right now? And once you see it visually on a piece of paper, it will help you decide on how to structure your plan or maybe what to go next. Okay. Next, you need to have the meeting with your loved ones as soon as possible. And I 100% agree with the fact that you should do this face-to-face, not a phone call, not a video call. It needs to be face-to-face so that way you can easily see how the other person is feeling and ask them, do you understand what I am asking? Or do you understand what my feelings are? And then make sure that everybody's 100% on the same level, right, on the same page. Next, you definitely need to schedule and get your free home safety assessment done. We do it absolutely free to help you and guide you and get your plan started. Okay, so we can do that. It is a in-person appointment. This is not something that we can do on the video. Next, if you are going to be working and taking our suggestions of doing your monthly expenses evaluation, your digital asset inventory, those are the things that we talked about to help you start with that plan. We're more than happy to mail you those documents. We have everything ready for you, and we can definitely do that starting on Monday. So we talk about here digital asset inventory, the room inventory, and then planning your space, right? Making your new, fresh, open floor plan, make sure that that works for you in the current space that you're in. We have 2 other workshops that may be of interest to you. Here's the link for you to see what the schedule is of the things that are coming up. 2 of the workshops are Decluttering Your Home Stress-Free. We truly dive in more detail, and we talk about room by room and helping you come up with a guide on what to do with your stuff, how to sort things, and help you come up with a plan to start doing little by little, but at least starting and making the difference in your home. And the next one is called Seniors Be Smart About Avoiding Scams. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are targeting seniors today. And what my goal is to help you understand and be prepared and see if this is truly a scam or maybe it's something that is worth checking into and looking into as well. Okay. We also record every workshop that we do, including the one today. And the workshop recording will be posted on our YouTube channel. It's called Penn Jersey Living with Olga. That way you can review it and watch it again and again, and also look at the recordings of other workshops that may be of interest to you. So we are here to help. What I'm going to do is just take this off the slide. We're happy to help you set up the personal safety assessment. It may take time for us to come out and do this safely due to the current social distancing regulations. We can definitely get the copies of the documents sent out to you. Okay, and also if you need some recommendations to help you get started, whether it's those home organizers, appraisers, if you have some valuables, helpers to get stuff out, we're more than happy to help you as well. So what I'm going to do now is actually stop sharing. And I am now more than happy to answer your questions. I hope that you found this workshop a good start and kind of help you start thinking about what is it that you want to do, and maybe you are here because you want to help your loved ones or your family member.